Welcome to my second episode of Transformation Perspective. Today's episode is about America's vision and investment. So, as you probably all are aware right now, is the RNC is going on, and Donald Trump is going to speak tentatively in the next minute or so. They said tentatively around 9 p.m. So I'm going up against Donald Trump right now. Also, let's quickly do a recap of what has happened. If you have been living under a rock, which maybe some people have been, I don't know, you've probably heard that there was an assassination attempt on former President Trump on Saturday. On top of that, I'm sure you've heard a lot of conspiracy theories being drifted around. It was staged or, it was whatever. But, conspiracy theories pop out whenever and always. So here's the thing. This assassination attempt on former President Trump definitely, my perspective, has brought people in the conservative movement together. Yeah, it's all about unity aspect. That's the advertisement that's being portrayed in the last, 5 days or so of unity, coming together, be strong, be united with America. So we'll see. We'll see what speech that President Trump proposes tonight. He scrapped the speech that he was writing for today and now reflecting upon more what happened on Saturday and the vision for America going forward. Now, we also have now the VP candidate for Trump, J.D. Vance, senator from Ohio. So it kind of sets up the vision for America for the conservative movement. Because we know that Trump cannot serve another term after this. 2 terms, that's it. He's term limited out. But it also sets up where the conservative movement is going. It's definitely that MAGA movement. All right, so 2028 definitely looks like, okay, we have a young J.D. Vance who's only 39 years old, can easily be the front runner then as the VP, as the next presidential candidate in 2028 to keep the MAGA conservative movement going. They have this vision. This is what this entailed. I think, my perspective here is I think this was actually a good move by Trump to go young, but also keeps the MAGA movement going. There's the vision. Not going with Rubio, a conservative. Some people are throwing out Nikki Haley for that matter. Definitely not the case either. More conservative values of the old Republican Party, that I should say old Republican Party now. But yeah, that's kind of what we look at is this MAGA movement is going forward, vision for America. That is what's happened at the RNC. A lot of speeches, acceptance speech by J.D. Vance. Tonight, obviously, is Donald Trump's acceptance speech as the Republican nominee. And we'll see what that message portrays. More of the unity aspect approach that, is being portrayed after the assassination attempt, or are we going to hear that MAGA movement come back out in the rhetoric of his speech? It really is going to dictate of where this is going to head. I've heard a lot of pundits and a lot of people coming on radio, talk shows, talking about, this race is over now. This race is all over. They got J.D. Vance as the VP candidate, and the assassination attempt has now united this conservative movement behind Trump. And, the Democrats, they're done. They can't win. It's over. This is not a acceptance speech. This is now probably a we won speech in November. That's what some of these conservative pundits are saying. On top of that, now we has COVID. That's what's being broadcast. Still a big push to get him out of the nominee position. Not sure what is going to potentially happen with that. Stay tuned with that because the Democratic National Convention is just a month away now in Chicago. So what do we do from here? We have the Republican vision going forward, right? This is that MAGA movement. very conservative. It's not this moderate conservative anymore. It is very, very far to the right. Some argue it's the fascist setup, right? Well, then on the flip side, conservatives are like, well, look at the liberals. They are more socialists. Okay, let's scrap that and go back to last week's episode about talking about Enlightenment ideas. The whole notion of doing what's best for the community, right? Not for yourself. That's an Enlightenment idea. That's not socialism. That's Enlightenment. What can I do for the entire community? So what's the vision? What is the vision of these two parties? Clearly, there's an agenda. There's a vision of what the conservatives want to do, right? Take away women's rights, reproductive rights, I should say, right? Who says they're going to stop at IVF, right? This is my perspective, and I've told this to some of my friends, is that I don't see them stopping at simply going after menstruation as well and saying, every menstruation cycle is a potential life. So if that's happening, you're killing the child. Yeah, it might be a little extreme, but that's how crazy that rhetoric actually does sound. You put it out there as that. So reproductive rights on the line, border immigration, right? Mass deportations is on that agenda or vision for America. Shut down the borders completely, right? Deport all the immigrants that have come in illegally. Okay, that's another part of that vision, right? Get out of NATO. Don't protect Ukraine. Don't help our allies. Support Putin. Seems that's where the media is portraying what Trump wants to do. Heck, you can even look at Project 2025 for that matter, right? This conservative agenda for it. The same group proposed ideas in 2016. They just weren't fully prepared for Trump's movement. And a lot of those ideas were still taken out. Now he can handpick individuals and put them in there. So then what happens then? A lot of those Project 2025 agendas come up. So that would be the more Christian conservative family movement. Probably a push to basically get rid of any kind of gay marriage that they don't want out there anymore, right? You can't have a woman marry a woman, a man marry a man, because it's not in their vision. Get rid of all LGBTQ rights, basically. Get rid of DI, right? No more diversity, no more equity, no more inclusion. Think about that one for just a second. Are we not diverse here in America? Do we not have an abundance of diversity in America because of immigration? Even if you look at colonialism back in the 1600s, yeah, they were Europeans, mainly from England, right? You have the Spanish basically settling all of Latin America aspects, the Portuguese going into South America, right? French up in Canada, right? The Dutch even tried to settle in here, right? So you have a lot of European descents. Later on, as this country is being established, you get Irish and German, and you get a whole bunch of ethnic groups coming in. We are diverse. This country is based on diversity, and yet we want to say we're not. We want to get rid of that concept. Why? I don't know. Equity, giving everyone a fair chance to succeed in life because you're diverse? Okay. And inclusion. Include everybody. Your race, your gender, your ethnicity, your heritage, for that matter. Like I've mentioned before, color of your skin is just the pigment. It's just a different shade. Match it up with paint samples at any department store that carries paint samples and see if you actually fall in the spectrum of white or black or brown, right? It's a wide range of color, including everybody in this country. But we want to get rid of that. So there's a vision of the conservative, a small part. I'm not getting to all of it, but there's a lot. But what's the Democrats' vision? A lot of it's just stop Trump. We got to stop Trump. We got to stop Trump. Trump is a threat to democracy. Trump is this biggest threat to democracy. Overturning the election in 2020. Okay, we're still living in the past. What's the vision for the future? The Democrats seem to not have a clear picture for the future. What is your investment in the future? Clearly, the conservatives have the investment into the future. They know what they want to do. They have this path of what is possible for people out there. But what about the Democrats? You look on the campaign websites, like what message? I don't know. Is it for the people? Doesn't seem like it. Either party, really. What's for the people? For the people, by the people, for the community? What about that aspect? A community is we all live in this country, all 50 states. We are a community. We are a nation. The idea of uniting, yes, let's unite. But as a community, let's do what's best for our entire community. So here, this is what I'm going to propose for my vision that I think should happen. If I was the presidential candidate for 2024, because clearly we have one vision, the conservative, and Democrats don't have a strategy to execute for the future. So here's some ideas. If I was the presidential nominee, right, I'd propose a few things. These are just a few ideas. Conservatives are all about pro-life, right? Liberals are all about pro-choice. Okay, we could go on for days about abortion rights. Okay, but what are we doing after that? If conservatives are all pro-life, which I'm going to debunk that and say they're pro-birth, not pro-life. Pro-life would mean is you don't want any abortions, but then you have programs set up like parental leave for mom and dad. Not 6 weeks, not 8 weeks. We're talking like other developed nations out there that have 6 months to a year to 18 to 2 years parental leave. We don't have that in America. That's not pro-life. We don't set up for the child's future. My investment that I would do, my envision, is invest into the family immediately. We want to be pro-life here. Let's be pro-life and actually mean it by stating that we're going to have parental leave. Right? Let's start with a year. Why not? Heck, let's go for 2 years in America. Why can't we have family-centered values? That's what the conservatives want. Then let's get back to that. Let's go family-centered, up to 2 years, paid leave for mothers. A lot of countries do 1 year paid leave for fathers. All right? Think about that. Think about that investment into children's lives at the most critical developmental stage of their lives. You don't have to send them to daycare and someone else who's teaching them how to read and walk. You miss those critical moments. The first words, crawling, rolling over, everything. I'm a parent. Man, those moments, they eclipse you so quickly. To be a part of that is so key. Imagine if we invested in a pro-life aspect, actually, not pro-birth. Even so, it's pro-choice too. That, do I want to choose to have this kid or not? Am I ready? Why do we have pro-choice? It's because we don't have a system in place to back up that birth, right? I don't have any money. How can I give out? How can I have this child? I'm working. I got to work another job. I got to pay rent. I got to do this. What? Our system is not designed for pro-life yet. So let's make it community-based of we focus on parental leave. We need this in America. That's a vision that I would put. That is long-term investment in this country's future. You're investing into that child's life from conception, saying, you know what, mom, dad's going to be home with you, taking care of you, but they can go back to their work. They're getting paid because they are helping you develop and setting up for the future. On top of that, education, universal childcare. Okay, a lot of people I can't afford to have a child. This is where the pro-choice comes in. Right? There's no universal child care aspects in this country. We need universal child care. That should be a long-term investment. With this family investment of parental leave for 2 years, have child care that's accessible that everybody has access to. That is pro-life, everybody. Right? That is the family movement. Okay? You can, like I said, you can argue this pro-choice, pro-life, but if there's no measures in place to help anybody, stop having these arguments instead of doing something about it. Parental leave and universal childcare are two big things that I would invest in. The second one is our education system needs a reform. We are so outdated. I'm a teacher. It is so outdated. It's over 100 years old and we haven't made significant changes. We still are going by standardized tests. Are you kidding me? That's supposed to measure a child's growth? No, it doesn't. People get test anxiety all the time. It could be something in personal life that's going on that they have a standardized state test that day and they bomb it. Or you have students who just don't care and they just fill in every bubble and 30 seconds later they're done. I know you teachers out there, you've seen this on standardized testing, state testing, right? You can't control that. That's not measuring anything. We need to revamp our education system. Focus on literacy for children at birth. That is when words and vocabulary start to develop. The synapses in their brain start connecting and you start reading. Read to your child immediately. Start some kind of child reading program. That is also that pro-life aspect. Invest in those children. That is what we need to do. Stop investing into these big corporations about tax cuts. No, invest into children. Educate them. Read to them. Build their vocabulary. From day one, that is the investment for our future. Not big tax cuts for corporations, big oil companies, big coal companies. That's not going to help us. That's not helping the working middle class. Absolutely not. The trickle-down Reaganomics that Trump wants to bring back does not work. I can do an episode on that, and I probably will, about how that's changed our economy and the way wage growth has been stunted by that. Stunted? I don't know. Something like that. Those three investments are key. Our education system needs reforming. We changed it to public education around World War I. Right a little bit after that, we changed that. Everyone freaked out about that. How dare we pay tax dollars for public education? That investment, K through 12, has paid off, but we haven't made a change since this. The argument of free college, make it public tax dollars again. All right? Get an education. We want knowledge. If you're competing against China or any other nation out there, knowledge is power. Enthusiasm throws that switch. That is what we need to do. We are so worried about what everyone else is doing. We need to stop them. Focus on our investment. Focus on investing into American community families. The big business does not work. That approach does not work anymore. Change our strategy. China is investing in computer software chips, investing into electric cars, investing into their future, and we are falling behind. So what is it time for? It's time for a change. It's time for a cultural shock in this nation of approaching things differently. Focus on the community. That is not socialism. I'm not proposing that idea. That is enlightenment. We need an enlightenment movement in this country to compete with other nations. Our education system is not even ranked in the top 25 probably. Haven't looked in a while, but it wasn't before, right? We don't even come close. Okay? If you want to be number one, America's not number one in a lot of categories. We're number one in the most gun fatalities in the world. Congratulations, America. You're top one of that. Mortality rates of births, yeah, number one in that too, probably. So why don't we do something that makes America actually better than everybody else by moving the needle where it matters? Education. We start with the young families. We start investing into our children immediately. It's about long-term investment. We talk about retirement and investing for your retirement. It's the same exact thing. Invest for our future. Invest for our future families, our children, right? We are so focused on, we got to change this, we got to change this, we got to do this, we got to do this. And it's all short-term goals. But nothing is setting us up for ultimate future. Every 4 years, we redo this, or every 2 years, we do these in the midterm elections. Where is the sense of community in this country? We're lacking that. We're so divided. You want to reunite? Think about your family. Think about your grandkids, the elderly. You're not going to be here for 2 generations to come. Think about your grandkids or great grandkids or something, and invest in, say, you know what? This is what we should do for their future. Yeah, everyone should have parental leave. Everyone should have universal health. We should have a literacy program that is instituted from day one of their birth, that we are providing books for families so they can read to their children. That is a huge investment in their brain development in the early critical stages and our education. Those are just some ideas. The other one is the healthcare aspect. You've heard probably the conservative aspect trying to get rid of healthcare again, right? Democrats trying to keep the healthcare system. Everything is broken. Healthcare should be a universal right now, right? Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. We should add healthcare in there. Yeah, the founding fathers didn't think that far ahead. This is why I said in my last week's episode was we need to rewrite the Constitution probably every 100 years to get to modern times of what is happening. Healthcare is a universal right. We've done so many medical advancements in just 100 years time span. It's time that everyone has that fair equity chance in America to have universal health care. If you don't like the government universal health care, what about industry health care? How about we focus on industry sectors of healthcare? Everybody that's a teacher in America dumps the money into that pool, and they get a teacher healthcare. The millions of teachers, right? If you're in retail, same thing. The Walmart, the Target, the Kohl's, the Fleet Farms, the Home Depots, whatever. All those retail companies, any retail company out there, you dump in, whether you're part-time, full-time, it's everybody in the country, dumps into their job that they currently have. Think about how good our healthcare could be. But no, you're part-time, you don't get healthcare. That's wrong. Absolutely, fundamentally wrong. If everyone is contributing, everyone benefits. And that is what makes America so much better than if everyone is benefiting from that long-term investment. Think about everyone in the medical field contributing around the nation. Not, well, in this state, we have 4 different medical fields that are contributing to healthcare. Why not everybody contributing to it? Every agricultural sector contributes to healthcare. Every construction worker contributes to a healthcare system. They're under that umbrella. Think about how good that healthcare system could potentially be. That is investment into our future. That is a community as a whole. We look out for each other. Just because you're part-time, especially in the restaurant business. I'm working part-time. I can't get benefits and I struggle. Give them benefits. Give them health insurance. Everybody in that industry is paying in and they have health insurance, regardless if they're part-time or not. It's instant. Think about those 4 visions that I just placed. They're all long-term investments potentially in making this country better. I'm not the nominee, but boy, I would love to run for office someday. I'm of age. I could run for president. Hey, Harper, 2024. Why not? Why not? Right? We could do the write-in system. Absolutely. I look at this. I'll leave you with this. Joe Biden is losing support in the Democratic Party. The Democratic National Convention is fastly approaching. This is my analogy. Joe Biden, President Biden, is like your grandma or grandpa, and you realize they probably shouldn't be driving the car anymore, but you're too afraid to take the keys away and say, you know what, we'll just drive you around, right? Or no, you shouldn't have your car. We should sell your car. This is where we're at, right? The writing is on the wall. You have a young VP. You have a young VP on both sides. You have two elderly candidates. Trump picked an even younger VP than Vice President Harris. The thing is, we need a candidate that's got some youth to it on the Democratic side. America needs youth going forward that understands where we need to be as a sense of community as America. Someone youth, someone who's got energy, someone who's vibrant, someone who's there, charisma that can unite this country. We're saying Trump can. We can say Biden can. This is our options. My perspective, Joe Biden needs to step down. An open convention at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. We don't need to nominate a politician, someone out there, right? Trump was a celebrity, TV star, businessman, but was not a politician. Never did politics before that, and he runs for office. That was the Republican strategy, and guess what? It's working for them right now. Democrats, it's time to play the same exact playbook. Take a risk. Nominate someone who is young, unknown, and has a lot of charisma and energy. Because that is what America needs right now. We don't need someone or two people that are old trying to run to set up for the future. This is my vision for when I'm gone. No, we want someone young who can dictate that now. Not like dictator, but dictate the future and future generations. That is what we need. So take a risk. Find someone. I'll do it. I'll volunteer. Not promoting anything, but I am. I'm seriously, stream this, like it, share it, send it out. I am more than willing to be that unknown person who steps up to the plate and represents America, diversity, equity, and inclusion for our community and invest in our entire future long term. Thank you for joining me. And this has been episode 2, America's Vision and Investment. See you next week. Bye.